Come check out the rest of the rules for Necromunda and the two gangs close up.
Spiky bits.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Necromunda weekend here at Spiky Bits. Of course, we've got the new gangs, the Gang Wars book, and the gang cards themselves. All fantastic new releases alongside the core game that just came out for $125. Now, the gangs themselves are $40 each. The new expansion book for the game, if you weren't satisfied enough with the rules that came with the gang, well, hey, $30 book right here, and the two sets of expansion cards or gang cards that go along with the cards that come in the box game are $15 each. And first out of the chute is going to be the Goliath Gang Box. Now, both of these boxes are actually going to have two of the same sprue and the corresponding 32mm base versus 25mm base in the Escher boxes. These instructions are definitely going to be familiar from the main core set itself here. So if you need some reinforcements for your Necromunda box set, well, hey, these guys are great. Or if you're not going to buy that and you just want some models, well, hey, here you go, right here. Now, who's to say that these won't have rules? Maybe in 8th edition 40K in the near future, Games Workshop always seems to be able to sell us the same stuff over and over, and I suppose maybe they can make it their way into a chapter approved sometime next year. I'm sure they'll replace this with a different insert if they do decide to go in that direction, but hey, these would make great models for a lot of different things. 40K counts as, or actual Goliath gangers, in that particular rule set as well. Now, each one of these models that comes in here, remember, there's two sprues of each, so you got 5 different varieties, are going to be able to form a different type of looking model with just a few modifications to the bits right there that they show. So I think it's a pretty ingenious little way to kind of switcheroo stuff a bit, from the chest plates, most of them, to the weapons themselves, to even the little face inserts. How crazy is that? They're little face inserts that go over top of like almost the back scalp, we'll say, of those heads. Now, here is, we'll just put this out of the way, but here is the sprue itself. Remember, you're going to get 2 of these, so very cool styling and original, I guess, idea on how to make these so they could make so many different combinations for just one sprue here. So you can see the little face scalps, the front scalps, the back scalps that go together that you can customize so much. The axes, the crazy grenade launcher type things. You've got hammers, you've got wrenches, crazy crescent wrenches of the far, far future, grenades, the chest plates, the guns. I don't even know. These things are so crazy looking, so over the top, and so kind of almost like a Mad Max kind of style, which I'm sure had a lot of inspirational overtones that made its way into this, for sure. I mean, you're seeing inspiration from just the older Necromunda set itself and the terrain pieces, so I'm sure there was some of this from some of the movies, post-apocalyptics and things from the 1980s. All great looking components here. Very, very cool stuff. So we'll take a look at the Escher clan right now. Again, fantastically detailed models. You're going to be able to make a bunch of different things. They're on 25mm bases instead of 32s, because I mean, inherently they are sculpted to scale with the Goliath models. And here they are. You've probably seen this already in the main box set, but again, lots of duplicates that you can pose and assemble in a lot of different ways, from the hairstyles themselves to the actual weaponry. I mean, this is just crazy how you can go from this pose going from the left back to the right, on this one miniature. So a varying amount of depth to the miniatures themselves, and the ability to put them together and just make them look completely different. Remember, back in the day, we would see the box sets that would come with 5 models, but 3 of them were the same, or 2 of them were the same, or something like that. But now, even though they are the same, you can still make them different, which I think is a huge, awesome kind of innovation by Games Workshop. Here's, the backs, or excuse me, the fronts, and then you got the hairstyles, which are going to be the backs, the classic kind of punker Escher punker look here that we saw in the past. And hey, there's nothing to say that there won't be special characters coming out like we saw with Blood Bowl. There's a lot of similarities that can be drawn between this box set and Blood Bowl itself. All the different weapons and things onto the front, and you get a better look at some of the detail work. The Vixen pattern plasma gun right here, and the long barreled extended finger or trigger guards, all sorts of crazy looking things here. The flamer. I mean, these miniatures are just absolutely fantastic, and the depth that Games Workshop brings to them is also very remarkable as well. Next up, let's take a look at some of the gang cards. So unlike the packs of cards or the gang tactics cards that come in the main box set, this is a completely different type of thing. You are only going to get tactics cards and profile cards that are blank. You're not going to be able to, you're only getting a few of those. You're not getting those, what was it, 14 different ones or 10 different ones, profile cards that came in the main rulebook. So you're going to get some specific ones to Escher here that I'll show you, but you're also going to get 12 of the generic ones that any gang can play. And I actually didn't look to see, I'm almost wondering if these are the same ones that come in the Goliath book, because that would be good to know. Because if it starts turning into kind of a thing where you have to purchase a bunch of different things, that might be a little interesting mechanic to see coming from Games Workshop, where, yeah, it looks like they are different. So there's 12 different ones in each gang. So if you're going to be serious about playing this game and you need those tactics cards, well, here's the 8 for Clan Escher, and then of course there's 12 more and your blank cards for Escher. Well, any gang can use these right here. Remember, there's probably going to be expansions. And for the Goliath cards as well, same deal, 8 faction specific gang tactics cards here. And then of course you're going to get the 12 non-specific, which are right here. So a bunch of different ones. This one's kind of cool. Duckways cannot be used for the duration of this round. That could be pretty devastating for people trying to take shortcuts through the bulkheads. And then your blank cards in the back for creating your own characters as well. Again, both of these are $15 expansions, and they look to be needed, you know, as additions to what comes in the main rulebook, and also some additional tactics cards for any gang out there. And last but certainly not least is the new Gang War supplement itself. Now this is going to give you additional rules that they didn't fit in the 103-page rulebook that comes in the core set, along with additional rules for your 2 gangs, House Escher and House Goliath. So there may be more of these on the way as they expand the gangs out. It's pretty safe bet to say $30 retail US. Now there's also going to be campaign rules in here and rules for playing on the 3-dimensional Sector Mechanicus terrain in this bad boy right here. So here's the contents. So Sector Mechanicus, playing on the additional rules for playing on the 3-dimensional terrain, kind of like back in the old days for Necromunda itself, but using the new terrain, the stuff that we showed you on our previous Warhammer 40k terrain unboxing video this weekend. Then get into the campaign section, so kind of expanding on a lot of those rules that came in the rulebook itself. Like if you want to do a league, this is basically a campaign, same type of deal. References and everything you're going to need, weapons, you know, everything goes up or, you know, becomes better or worse, kind of depending on what happens. Then you get into the expanded list of Goliath gangs and Escher gangs, and more scenarios in here that are going to tell you, you know, how to use those tiles in here as well. Now, there's nothing to be said that they couldn't come out with new tiles going forward and give you ideas, you know, for a whole new kind of type deal, or a whole new layouts and scenarios for that particular tile pack. We haven't seen it yet, but that's not to say it wouldn't happen if this game, you know, proves to be very popular for people out there. Now, this is a kind of the homebrew kind of table with the 3-dimensional terrain, so giving you some ideas of what you can do and everything that's in there, and the tiles themselves to be used as well. So that's kind of cool. And here you can see some of the existing terrain pieces and how they kind of plug and play into that. And then the section with the Sector Mechanicus rules is right here, of course. That's going to give you all of those rules for playing on that three-dimensional terrain. And the Campaign Battles section is up next, and they're going to give you your larger kind of gang roster, I guess, you know, bringing it back to Blood Bowl terms, because there's a lot of similarities between it. So this is going to start around page 11 and give you all those good notes. And remember, there are the cards that are going to come, you know, your profile cards. There's going to be the blank ones that as you go up or down and make custom things, or custom gangers, you can adjust those, probably if you use a pencil or something like that, or I suppose you could laminate it and use dry erase markers. So there's injuries, you know, all sorts of different things in here. The next war, weapon attachments, you know, buying things, maybe not buying things. I thought you have to forage for things. I forget how this works. Specialty territories, war gear and such. So lots of different mechanics in here. Of course, you need to pick up this book to get all the specifics. We're not going to break it all down for you. There's plenty of other people out there that have probably already shown most of this rule book. We're just kind of giving you an idea of where to spend your hobby dollars this weekend, and then your campaign house list. So they're going to give you the access to the skills, very similar again to Blood Bowl and all of those things. Now this section is actually different from what comes in your core rule book, but you need the core rules to use this stuff in here. So it's kind of like a supplement, a true supplement. You can't just buy this book and get a couple of gangs and play with it or anything like that. The same with the House Escher gangers, your skill access chart and your equipment weapon list that you can upgrade for credits, you know, getting through the campaigns is all right here. And then it gets into scenarios, and again, they're going to give you the layout, or I thought they did. Nope, I was mistaken with the older books. So they're just going to give you the generic ones, just the generic, hey, this is the mission, this is what's happening, set up your own table. And there it is, $30 expansion. Now this is definitely on, you know, very well made book, definitely on point to some of the thinner expansion books that came out in 7th edition Warhammer 40k, and probably most definitely worth your money if you're getting really into this Necromunda. So that is pretty much it for this one. We went over the gang cards, we went over the gang war box, we took a closer look at both of the individual gang sets that are here now and available separately. Now, of course, you can probably use these as a lot of different figures out there, but overall, everything is looking great. Everything is priced about as we would expect from Games Workshop, so I don't think there's any worries there. So now it's just gotta figure out, what do you want to pick up this weekend. Now, if you like these types of unboxing and pricing videos from us, make sure you subscribe to this channel and click on the little bell notification icon in the bottom right to be the very first to like and comment on our videos here. And be sure to head on over to longwar.net. That's the home of the battle reports for exclusive 8th edition Warhammer content and early access videos. Become a veteran of the Long War today.